Hey guys, Miles here with Prairie Mountain Outdoors. Just going to do a quick little tutorial on how we fletch arrows around here. So this is something we normally see as guys come in with arrows they've done themselves with a pretty inconsistent glue job where the arrows are barely even, fletchings are barely even holding on there. So we'll cut these half dozen arrows off here and we'll refletch them. Yeah, so we'll just take the blade of the knife here. You don't want to put it on too steep of an angle because you don't want to scratch or actually end up cutting into any of the carbon. So you just take it back nice and easy and knock all the old glue off there and any of the fletching that's still left. So you can see here, after you cut the vein off, there's still a bunch of glue there. You can see the inconsistency in the glue, how there's actual big spaces and stuff that was missed in there. When you're gluing the fletchings on, you want to make sure that you actually have the glue covered from one end to the other with the same consistency. You can just feel up and down the arrow, make sure that everything's gone off there, and on to the next one. The boning makes a pretty good fletch remover that kind of sits on the shaft and goes, but I don't know if they make one in this for this exact diameter. These are the 27s, so these arrows are pretty big. So we just stick with the blade, use that for everything. Works pretty good, and they're always easy accessible. You can get replacement blades just about at any hardware store or anything like that. Doesn't need to be anything special. So that's what we use. Yeah, it's really important when you're doing this that you just run your finger around the whole thing. Make sure that you get every little bit of glue, excess, anything off of there. So when you go to refletch them, it's like the brand new shaft again. So it's important that you double check that. Now that we've got all the veins cleaned off, we're going to go with the Max Stealth AAE. Here at Prairie Mountain Outdoors, we have a pretty big selection of the AAE veins out in the shop. So these are what the client wanted, or the customer, sorry. This is what they're getting. So we have Max Stealth veins. We also use the AAE Max Weld primer pen, and we use the Max Bond. We use all the AAE products here. Here we go. So we have some other ones. I think the customer had a dozen of these, but we're only going to do 6. So I'm just going to stick these in here, make sure that we get the fletches put on in the exact same spot as they were before. So we'll just put that in there like that. Grab a Sharpie just so that we can mark the back of it so we can stay consistent with where we're lining these things up every time. These arrows, we are going to put a slight left offset on them. That's typically, with the most bows that we see around here anyways, the arrow always comes spinning out of the bow to the left. So I always tend to fletch to the left just to keep it going so we don't lose any energy downrange. Make sure you put the primer pen on there. Get it on nice and consistent all the way across. Give it a couple seconds to dry. Use the glue. I usually do 4 or 5 dabs. And then I run the actual bottle on here and scrape it to make sure that I get glue on every little bit of this thing. Hold that down on there. Give her the 15 count. That's typically what I do, is good enough for fletching. So I like to make sure that they're really clean, so I grab a Q-tip on every single vein. Clean up any extra glue. There's usually not too much, but just to make sure, spin it over to the next one. Same thing, line it back up with that black line that we previously made. Put your primer pen back on there. Give her a second to dry. Same thing again, 5 dots with the glue. Smear it on there. Pop that on. Any extra glue, which you can see there's not really any glue on there. I just like to double check. Always run the Q-tip up there. I don't like it when you can see any extra glue on the side of the shaft when you're done. Last one. Primer pen. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, this is the first time that I've ever used this jig too. Normally I use that Bitzenberger jig, but this is the first time for me that I've fletched these 27s, so they don't fit in the Bitzenberger, so we had to use this one. And so far so good. The weight of the clamp actually holds the veins down on there pretty good, gives it enough pressure to push it down and keep it solid. So there we go. You can see on there, there's not an excessive amount of glue, but you can also see in the video from earlier that we actually put glue all along the whole thing evenly, so those veins aren't coming off. I wouldn't shoot them for at least a day, but they're on there good. They ain't coming off. All right, well, there you have it. We just fletched 6 arrows. Took us, I don't know, roughly probably 25-30 minutes. So if you guys are interested in maybe learning some more about how to do some archery tips and tricks, then stay tuned with Prairie Mountain Outdoors. And if you need any of the products that you've seen here today, make sure you check out prairiemountaiноutdoors.ca. Thanks for stopping by.